Hello, readers, and welcome to Shelf Help. On December 26th, 2025, Miss Armentrout dropped a From Blood and Ash novella, A Crown of Ruin. It picks up right where A Primal of Blood and Bone left off. As of this writing, it is a free download with no plans to bring to print. But that may change. If you saw my review for Primal of Blood and Bone, you will know that I was not particularly impressed. I won't rehash that here. I have mixed feelings about this novella, because this is what Primal should have been. Gods tag-teaming the unkillable Primal of Death as they try to protect Poppy, Kieran actually present in the story and interacting with other characters, Castile being funny. There's banter. He has more emotional range in these 140-ish ebook pages than in the whole 800 of Primal of Blood and Bone. A lot of it is still anger, but it's not the singular, childish tantrum anger of Primal. And he and Kieran actually speak to each other like they are friends who have known each other since the cradle. They work out their problems like adults, with words. This is so good, it makes me hate Primal of Blood and Bone more for not being this. But that also brings up a concern. This free ebook takes place between Primal of Blood and Bone and the Throne of Blood and Ash. So if you don't know this novella is out there and jump directly from book 6 to book 7, it's going to look like Castile jumped from being an untethered lunatic to as stable as he's ever been. It's going to be serious whiplash. For all the ink that was spilled about the big miscommunication and how Castile just could not talk to Poppy or Kieran and how betrayed he felt and could no longer trust them, the actual resolution takes one scene. Kieran says they never should have blindsided him, and Castile admits he was being an asshat who should have talked to them. If this scene doesn't make it into Throne, it's going to confuse people. On a more story level, I am wondering why the rest of the gods are still being low-key hostile to Castile. Ash is a Primal of Death, and no one's ostracizing him. Castile has been of more help to Poppy than literally any of them. When Castile confronts Layla, Primal of Peace and Vengeance, and Atez's wife, she threatens him, even after being told who he is. The most logical course of action would have been to tell him that Poppy is safe with her grandmother and being healed, and if he could take a breath and calm down a few dozen notches, she'd be happy to show him the way. Or sending a diplomat to invite him in when he's done leveling a city to get through his big feelings. What is to be accomplished by barring Poppy's heartmate from her side? You think either of these two homicidal idiots will be less homicidal if you try to keep them apart? It's almost like they are a mirror of Ash and Sierra in some sort of parallel plot or something. And then the Fates make an appearance. God, I love Aiden. It's going to be so much fun watching him get punched in the face. I don't know if he's actually trying to help Castile here, or if he's just trying to make trouble. Maybe the rest of the Fates sent Aiden as a sacrificial lamb to see if Castile had the self-control not to rip his head off. Because if he lets Aiden walk away, more or less unharmed, then we don't have a second unhinged Death Primal on the loose. Yet. There are a couple of nitpicky things that bother me, but they're actually pretty common and I see them a lot. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. This is a good sentiment overall. When you are bigger and stronger than others, you should not use that power to do them harm. However, this line was said by Kieran about using his new primal powers to kill a horde of Craven, because he did not want to frighten the mortals. My dear, dear wolf, they will be alive to be afraid. Which many of them won't be if the horde gets over the wall. Their deaths will be horrible and cause lifelong trauma to the survivors. This is, in fact, the exact sort of situation in which you should. Second, Atlantean soldiers, armed with crossbows, moved in front of the mortal guards. Grips steady on the handle, they aimed, bolts already knocked. They fired, releasing and restringing far quicker than one could with a regular bow. Tell me your only experience with a crossbow is watching The Walking Dead without telling me. Crossbows are not fast. They suck to load, even the modern ones. But using a longbow takes time to learn and a hell of a lot of strength. You don't want the arrows to fall short and land on your own soldiers. Crossbows were invented so the untrained, conscripted farmers the nobles dragged to war could be useful. The poor conscripts were lined up 2 or 3 deep, first row armed with the crossbows. They fired and either fell back to reload while the next line fired, or handed the empty crossbow back and received a loaded one. I'm going to put this on my top shelf. It was way better than Primal. Which is reassuring because boy was I worried about this series crashing and burning in the final act. Thank you for your time. Let me know how I can improve your shelf.